Hey everyone, gearing up for the UPSC, right? Staying updated on current affairs is essential, and we're here to help you do just that.
It can be tough to keep up with everything going on, though.
Yeah, sometimes just skimming the headlines doesn't give you the full picture.
Exactly.
That's why today we're taking a deep dive into some important updates, stuff that's super relevant for the UPSC.
We'll be covering a range of topics, from global health to science, with a bit of international relations and geography sprinkled in.
Just like the UPSC exam itself.
Exactly.
All right, let's kick things off with some positive news from Rwanda. They managed to contain their very first outbreak of the Marburg virus disease.
That's a big deal.
It is. Now, this virus, it's related to Ebola.
And it can be really dangerous.
Yeah, think hemorrhagic fever, no specific treatments, and the fatality rate can be really high.
So containing this outbreak.
Essential, right.
Absolutely crucial. And not just for Rwanda, this is a win for the whole world. It really highlights the importance of pandemic preparedness.
Which, is a huge topic these days. And something that could definitely pop up on the UPSC.
Absolutely.
Now, for those of you brushing up on your geography.
Always important for the UPSC.
Rwanda, it's a landlocked country.
In East Africa.
Right, so keep those geographical facts in mind.
Absolutely.
On a more hopeful note, there are some promising vaccine trials happening right now.
Which is really encouraging.
Like the one by the Savin Vaccine Institute.
Right.
So fingers crossed, we'll be much better equipped to deal with future outbreaks.
Definitely. All right, shifting gears now to something that affects every single one of us.
Aging.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's new research shedding light on why our muscles get weaker as we age. And it seems like mutations in mitochondrial DNA might be a big part of the puzzle.
Okay, so quick recap.
Yeah, let's break it down.
Mitochondria, they're the powerhouses of our cells.
Responsible for producing energy.
And here's a fun fact. We inherit our mitochondria exclusively from our mothers.
That's right. And this study, what it found is that specific mutations in mitochondrial DNA, well, they can lead to dysfunctional mitochondria.
So the mitochondria aren't working as well as they should.
Exactly. And that contributes to muscle loss as we get older. Imagine it like a glitch in your cell's energy production system.
A glitch in the power grid.
Exactly.
So this research has huge implications not only for understanding the whole aging process, but also
For potentially developing new therapies, right?
Exactly. Therapies that could target those mutations and actually fight age-related decline.
Imagine that.
Wouldn't that be incredible?
It would be a game changer. All right, now let's head over to Europe. Spain's decided to do away with its golden visa program.
Those programs, they've become quite popular in recent years, haven't they?
They have. They basically allow wealthy individuals to get residency.
In another country.
Right, through investment.
Usually real estate.
Exactly.
In Spain's program, it was no different.
Nope. Required a minimum investment of 500,000 euros.
€500,000.
But now they're putting a stop to it.
Yeah, they're scrapping the program.
And mainly because of concerns about, well, how it's affecting the locals, the cost of housing.
Housing affordability has been a huge issue.
It has. And there are also worries about potential misuse, things like money laundering.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So this move by Spain, it reflects a larger trend
Globally.
of countries taking another look at these golden visa programs.
Reevaluating the pros and cons.
Exactly. It's a topic worth keeping an eye on, especially when you're thinking about international relations and economic policies.
Definitely. Now let's take a break from all the serious stuff for a moment and talk about something a bit more, adorable.
Adorable.
2 red pandas, they've just arrived.
Ah, red pandas.
At the Padmajan Naidu Himalayan Zoological Park in Darjeeling.
How cute is that? The fire fox.
They're so cute with their reddish-brown fur.
And his bushy tails.
But they're more than just cute faces, right?
Oh, absolutely. They're considered an indicator species. What that means is that their well-being, it tells us a lot about the health of the entire ecosystem.
That's fascinating.
And sadly, they're endangered.
Primarily because of habitat loss.
Right. Exactly. All right, speaking of endangered species and incredible discoveries.
Scientists in Siberia have unearthed a remarkably well-preserved mammoth.
From the permafrost.
Now, mammoths, they're those extinct relatives of elephants, right?
That's right. They roamed the earth during the Ice Age. And this mammoth, it was a juvenile.
Wow. And it was found frozen.
In the permafrost, which acted like a natural time capsule, preserving it.
For how long?
For over 50,000 years.
That's mind-blowing. This discovery is incredible, not just because it gives us a glimpse into the past.
It allows scientists to really study these ancient creatures.
But it also brings up questions about Well, about climate change.
Because the melting permafrost. It's revealing these hidden treasures, but
But it's also releasing trapped greenhouse gases.
into the atmosphere.
Right, it's kind of like this link between the past and the present.
It is. And that link, it's crucial for understanding these complex issues like climate change. Okay, shifting focus now to India's role on the global stage. India recently sent a large shipment of rice as humanitarian aid.
To the Kingdom of Lesotho.
Right. And here's where geography comes back into play.
Love it. Pop quiz.
Lesotho, it's a landlocked country.
Completely surrounded by...
South Africa.
Yeah.
And it's known for its high elevation and its mountainous terrain.
It's like a country within a country.
It is. And this aid from India, this gesture, it underscores the importance of international cooperation.
And humanitarian assistance.
Especially for countries dealing with food security challenges.
Absolutely. All right, sticking with international relations, Prime Minister Modi recently visited Kuwait. And this visit, it highlighted how important the Gulf Cooperation Council is for India.
The GCC.
Right.
It's a political and economic alliance.
Of 6 Arab states.
In the Persian Gulf region.
Which are...
Bahrain, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates.
And why are they so important?
Well, for one, they hold a massive portion of the world's oil reserves.
Making them key players.
In the global energy market.
Absolutely. And for India specifically.
The GCC is their biggest regional trading partner.
Billions of dollars.
In bilateral trade. Plus, you have millions of Indians working in GCC countries, sending back vital remittances to their families.
It's a huge connection.
It is. It's this multifaceted relationship encompassing economic, political, and social dimensions.
Definitely something to keep in mind for the UPSC.
Yeah.
All right, and finally, to wrap up this section of our deep dive, let's turn our attention to an initiative happening right here in India.
Sounds good.
It's called the Viksit Panchayat Karmayogi Initiative.
And it's all about strengthening local governance.
Empowering Panchayati Raj institutions.
Or PIs.
Now, as a quick refresher, for those who might need it,
Sure.
PYs, they're the local self-government bodies in rural India.
They play a crucial role.
In village development.
And administration.
Right, so this Viksit Panchayat Karmayogi Initiative...
It's all about using technology...
to make those PRIs more effective.
And more efficient.
So think of things like e-learning platforms for training PRI members.
Right.
AI-powered chatbots for citizen services.
And mobile apps for better data collection, project monitoring, all of that.
Oh, it's like bringing the digital age...
to the villages.
Exactly. And right now, it's being piloted in 4 states, Odisha, Assam, Gujarat, and Andhra Pradesh.
Right. And this initiative, it aligns perfectly with the government's push for decentralization.
Empowering local communities.
To drive their own development. It's a theme that often comes up in the UPSC exam, so it's worth paying attention to. And it's not just the Viksit Panchayat Karmayogi initiative. The government has also launched something called a capacity building dashboard.
A capacity building dashboard. What's that all about?
So basically, it's a way to track all those training programs, across different government departments.
And see if they're actually working.
Exactly. It's about making sure those programs are delivering real results.
So how does it work?
Well, the dashboard, it uses all sorts of data and visualizations to show things like how many people are registering for the courses, how many are completing them, and what kind of impact those programs are having overall.
So it's like a way to measure their effectiveness.
Exactly. And it helps identify any areas that might need improvement, making sure resources are being used wisely.
Sounds like a pretty important tool for transparency and accountability.
It is. And speaking of transparency, the government's also released the CP-DRAMS Annual Report 2024.
CP-DRAMS, what's that stand for?
It stands for the Centralized Public Grievance Redress and Monitoring System. And this report, it gives a really detailed look at how the system performed over the past year.
So it's about how well the government is responding to, citizen complaints and concerns.
Exactly. It highlights some really important metrics like how many grievances were resolved, how long it took to resolve them, and how initiatives like the Grievance Redressal Assessment and Index, or GRAI, are being implemented.
Hold on, GRAI, what's that?
So the GRAI, it's basically a tool used by the Department of Administrative Reforms and Public Grievances, and they use it to assess and rank different government departments, based on how well they handle complaints.
So it's like a report card for government departments?
Kind of, yeah. It's all about encouraging a more citizen-centric approach to governance.
Interesting. It seems like there's a real push towards making the government more accountable and responsive to the needs of its citizens.
There definitely is. Okay, ready for a little trip back in time. Let's go way back to a period of, well, pretty dramatic environmental change. We're talking about Ocean Anoxic Event 1A, or OAE 1A for short.
Ocean Anoxic Event. Sounds intense. What was that all about?
Okay, imagine this. Massive volcanic eruptions spewing tons of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, temperatures skyrocketing. This triggered a chain reaction in the oceans, and ultimately, it depleted them of oxygen.
The oceans were running out of oxygen. That sounds terrifying.
It was. It caused a huge disruption to marine ecosystems. And there's a new study published in Science Advances. They analyzed ancient rocks and fossils from Japan to get more insights into the timing and duration of this event.
And what did they find?
Well, they confirmed that OAE-1A, it kicked off around 119.5 million years ago. And get this, it lasted for a whopping 1.1 million years.
Over 1 million years with low oxygen levels in the oceans.
Wow.
What kind of impact did that have on marine life?
Well, that lack of oxygen, it led to the formation of these dead zones, areas where most marine life just couldn't survive.
So what could survive in those dead zones?
Only certain types of microbes and fungi, the ones that actually thrive in those low oxygen environments.
It sounds like this event wiped out a lot of marine species.
It did. It was a mass extinction event. A lot of marine species couldn't cope with the lack of oxygen. Plankton, for example. They were hit especially hard, and they formed the base of the marine food chain.
This is making me think about what's happening today. With climate change, I mean.
Right. It's a good comparison. Think about it. Massive volcanic eruptions pumping carbon dioxide into the atmosphere millions of years ago. Now, fast forward to today, human activities are doing the same thing, and at a much faster rate.
So we're kind of replicating the conditions that led to OAE-1A.
In a way, yeah. And that raises some serious questions about the future of our oceans. If we don't get a handle on climate change, that is, could we be heading towards another mass extinction event, this time one that's caused by humans?
That's a scary thought, and a really powerful reminder of why it's so urgent to tackle climate change, to find ways to live more sustainably.
It is. We can learn a lot from these events in Earth's history. Okay, let's shift gears again. Let's zoom in into the microscopic world of viruses.
Viruses. Tiny but mighty, right?
They are. And understanding their structure, it's crucial for developing treatments and vaccines. So let's talk about what they're actually made of.
All right, break it down for us.
At their core, viruses are just genetic material, either DNA or RNA, and it's encased in this protein shell. It's called a capsid. Some viruses also have an outer envelope that they get from the host cell they infect.
So they're like little pirates, stealing parts from our cells to build themselves.
Huh. That's a good way to put it. And based on their structure, we can classify viruses into different categories. You've got helical viruses with a rod-shaped capsid, and icosahedral viruses with a more geometric 20-sided capsid.
Wow, it's amazing how these tiny things can have such diverse structures.
It is. And we also have enveloped viruses. They have that extra layer surrounding their capsid. And then there are complex viruses with more intricate structures that don't really fit into those other categories.
It's a whole world of microscopic diversity.
It really is. And each of those structural differences, they can impact how a virus infects cells and how we go about developing treatments. Speaking of needing protection, remember those adorable red pandas we talked about earlier?
Oh, yeah, those cuties.
Well, they face some serious threats.
Like what?
Habitat loss is a big one due to deforestation. And then there's the illegal wildlife trade.
So sad.
It is. And they're really dependent on bamboo forests, which are being cleared, for agriculture, development, all of that.
It's a reminder that protecting endangered species, it's not just about saving individual animals. It's about protecting entire ecosystems, that delicate balance of life that keeps everything going.
Well said. Okay, let's talk about an organization that's doing some really important work when it comes to understanding and protecting our oceans, the National Institute of Ocean Technology. NIU, for short.
NIOT, I'm not familiar with them. What do they do?
So NIOT, they're an autonomous society under the Ministry of Earth Sciences, and they conduct research on a whole bunch of topics, everything from coastal processes to deep sea exploration.
Wow, that's quite a range.
It is. And they also develop technologies for, sustainable ocean resource management.
It's great that there are organizations like NIOT out there working to protect our oceans. They're so vital to our planet.
They really are. They're helping us understand and manage these precious resources.
Well, it feels like we've covered a ton of ground today. I mean, we've talked about viruses, ancient oceans, endangered species, government initiatives, international relations. It's been quite a deep dive.
It has. And we haven't just skimmed the surface, right? We've really explored these connections between what might seem like very different topics. And we've talked about why they matter, especially for the UPSC exam.
Exactly. It's not just about memorizing a bunch of facts. It's about understanding how these things all fit together, seeing the bigger picture. So as we wrap things up, I want to leave you with something to ponder. We talked about that amazing mammoth discovery in the permafrost. But with climate change, things are warming up. The permafrost is melting. What other secrets from the past might we uncover? And what could we lose in the process?
That's a great question. The melting permafrost, it could reveal so much. Think about ancient ecosystems, extinct species, but it also comes with risks, right? Like the release of those greenhouse gases we talked about, and who knows, maybe even ancient pathogens.
It's a bit of a double-edged sword, isn't it?
It is.
It really highlights how connected everything is. The past, the present, the future. The decisions we make today, they have consequences.
Absolutely. That's why it's so important to stay informed, to be engaged with what's happening in the world.
So we can understand the world around us.
And make informed decisions about the future.
Kind of said it better myself. So keep exploring, keep learning. And hey, don't forget to subscribe and like for more deep dives into these fascinating topics. We'll be back soon with another episode to help you navigate the complexities of our world. Until then, happy studying.